What's going on, everyone? It's JDog406 coming back for another coin roll hunting video. And today, we're not getting into just one box of pennies, we're getting into three. So yeah, I don't know if you can see all three of them here like that, but they're there. And this first box is going to have one ender. The other ones don't have enders. This one looks like it's going to be in the 40s, maybe a 49, possibly just a 40 Denver right there. But it's always good to be seeing our first find on the end of the roll. So other than that, though, besides looking for some errors and varieties and hoping I can find an Indian head or a steel penny, let's go ahead and get into this first roll. And before we get into this first ender with the 1940 something on the end, I do want to say I'm not going to record every single roll for this, as that would just be way too long of a video. I will bring you guys in when I do find stuff, or I'll periodically record a roll live. So other than that, though, let's go ahead and take a nice look at this ender. Okay, so looks like we got a 1949 Denver right there. Looking very nice. Right. Yeah, that does look very nice. Let's go ahead and put this one down and see if there's anything else in this roll. Oh, look at that. We got a second wheat penny right there. What's this one going to be? Looks like it could be a little bit older than the one before. Nope, it's a year older. Older. So 1950 Denver right there. We got a 49 and we got a 50. Very nice. And I don't think we're going to be having anything else in this first roll. So let's go ahead and move on to the second one. And I'll open that one up live too and see if we can find another wheat penny. And I was double checking the first roll, and look what I seen pop out in the pile. So we got a Canadian right here with the tiara obverse, looking in fairly good shape. This one looks like it's going to be copper. And it is copper, 1971. So if you didn't know, they stopped making copper pennies for Canada in 1981. And in 1982, they swapped to their first penny with a 12-sided edge. And that was made to help people determine what type of denomination they had when they were blind. So other than that, though, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're getting into the second roll right here. Look at what we got sitting right here. Nice, beautiful one, too. So we got a 1963 Young Head, Canadian, very nice. This one looks good for its age. We'll definitely be putting this one to the side. Let's go ahead and move down the rest of the roll. Alright, and I don't think there's anything else in here besides something that I've seen that looks phenomenal that you don't see every day. Look at this, completely uncirculated 1974 Denver, and it's not anything super special as in like mintage wise, but it is just uncirculated. You don't see these too often. Very nice piece. Let's go ahead and move on. Right, and because the first two rolls were so good, I'm going to open up a third roll live and see if we can't find something. And it looks like our third roll is a bust for continuing our streak, but I'll tune you guys in on the next find. Alright, so I just cracked open the fourth roll, and I don't know if you can see it right there, but we got another find. So let's go ahead and pick up this Canadian and see what we got. Oh, look at what we got right here. So it's not a young head. It is the first year tiara, which is very nice to be having as well. Looks like it's in fairly good shape for how old it is too. Alright, let's go ahead and see if there's anything else in here real quick, and then we'll move on. And I don't think there's anything else, so yeah, I'll tune you guys in on the next one. Alright, I just cracked open the 8th roll, and I don't know if you can see, it's about the 4th coin in. We already have a wheat reverse right here. So let's go ahead and pick it up and see what we got. So it already looks like it's in a really nice shape for it being a wheat penny. Maybe a little bit of luster still on it down here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and flip it. Nice, we got a 1954. It is looking a little bit luxurious on the front end as well. Very nice. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else in here. And there's nothing else here, so I'll tune you guys in on the next one. Alright, I got into the 9th roll, and it was the last, or nearly the last coin, second to the last. We got another wheat penny, and it's a 1956 Denver. Very nice. Let's go ahead and move on. Alright, I was going through the 11th roll, and I don't know if you can see it already, but we got a 1955 Denver right here. Very nice. Little bit of rotting on the front of it, but that's alright. Let's go ahead and check the rest of the roll. Oh, look at that. We also have a 1976 Canadian penny with the tiara obverse. Very nice. Alright, I'll tune you guys in on the next one. Alright, this box is seeming a little hot. We're into the next roll, the 12th roll. And we got another wheat penny. So let's go ahead and take a nice look at it. There's a little something up on the right side. Not sure exactly what's there, but we're going to ignore it because we got a 1946. Very nice. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else in here. And I'm not thinking so, so let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're into the 16th roll, and it was kinda near the end, but we got a 1942 Denver right here looking in fairly decent shape. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're getting into the 18th roll, and here's what we got right here. So we have a nice little wheat reverse, and it's going to be another 1955 Denver. Very nice. Let's go ahead and check the rest of this and see if there's something else. And I don't think so, so let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're into the next roll. This is the 19th roll, and we got a 1944 right here. Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and see if there's something else. Look at that. Look at what we got near the end. We got another wheat reverse right here. This one's a little bit more slick. Maybe it's a little bit older. Nope. It's a little bit younger. So 1956 Philadelphia. Very nice. Let's go ahead and move on. Alright, I just opened up the 23rd roll. And I don't know if you can tell right here, the second coin from the end. Almost an ender. We got a Canadian. And let's see what we got. We got a 1978 looking really nice. Alright, let's go ahead and put this one down and see if there's anything else in here. Oh, look at what we got right here. We got a 1950 Philadelphia. Very nice. I wish this was a nickel. Oh. Look at what we got right here. We got a duo. that was both facing reverse up. So we got two tiaras. What are they going to be? Forgot they're not American coins. Alright, so we got a 76 and a 73. Very nice. And I don't think there's anything else here. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're into the 24th roll right here. Look at what we got. We got a 1952 Denver. Looking really rough, but it's still a wheat penny. And then if we look farther back here, going just a couple more coins, we have a 1977 Canadian. Then if we go a little bit farther back, look at what we got right here. We got a 1964 Younghead right there. Very nice. And I don't think there's anything else there, so let's go ahead and move on. Holy smokes, I just opened up the 25th roll. This is the halfway point of the box. I wish I would have recorded it live, which I should have, which I always record my halfway points live. I just got everything mixed up, but look at what just popped out right here. A nice crisp, uncirculated Canadian. Right, let's go ahead and flip that over. See that it's a 78. Just look at that thing. Absolutely beautiful. Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and carefully put this one down. See if there's anything else. I don't think there's really much else, so let's go ahead and continue through. Like I was saying earlier, this box is pretty hot. So we got another wheat penny right here. And this one, I wonder what it's going to be. It's a 1951 Denver. Very nice. It was nearly the end again. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue on to the next roll. Okay, I'm deciding to record the 27th roll live. Let's see if we can get something good out of it. Look at what we got right here. We got a wheat penny. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip this one over and see. Alright, it's just a 53 Denver. Let's go ahead and move on. And I don't think there's anything else, so yeah, let's get into the next roll and see if we can keep up that wheat streak. Alright, we're getting into the 27th roll, and I just cracked it open. 3 coins away from being an ender. Look at what we got. We got a nice little wheat penny right here. Little bit worn down, more slick than usual. But it's a 53 San Francisco. You don't see those S marks too much, but it is still a common coin. So yeah, let's go ahead and get through the rest of this and see if there's more of them. Look at what we got right here. We got a 1968 Tiara Canadian. Very nice. 2009 as well. Haven't been showing a whole lot of these. Haven't found too many of them, but they just aren't too interesting, especially when I'm going through multiple boxes like this. And I don't think there's going to be anything else besides those 2 coins, or 3 if you include the 2009. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, I just opened up the 32nd roll. And if you can't see, there's 1, 2, 3 finds already in just this roll. So let's go ahead and check them out. I'm going to pull this one from the center first. So look at what we got here. We got a 1978 Canadian looking kind of decent. Then what's this one? We've got a 1974 Canadian. And what's the last one that I can see off the edge? Oh, not that one. Where did he go? Huh. I could have swore there was another Canadian here. Okay, here's the other Canadian I think I've seen. So 1977 right here. Looking pretty nice. Don't think there's anything else here. So other than that, let's go ahead and move on to the next roll. Alright, we're on the 34th roll. And look at what we got right here. We got a 1946 Denver. Very nice. Alright, we literally got into the next roll a little over halfway, and we got a Canadian and a wheat penny right here. So let's go ahead, see what this one is. It looks a little weird. It's got an odd toning to it, but it's in really nice shape. So let's go ahead and flip it. Ooh, alright, 1941. Very nice. It looks a little weird, like I'm saying. Don't know if my lighting's doing me any justice right now. But yeah, let's go ahead and put this one down. And let's look at this Canadian real quick. Alright, 1981. Very nice. We're getting into the 38th roll. And about halfway through, I see a wheat penny. Little bit slicked down. Little bit of rotting on it, but still a wheat penny from 1951 out of the Denver Mint. Ooh, we got a second wheat penny in here. We got a 1946 Denver. Very nice. Okay, we just cracked into the very next roll, and we got another wheat penny just a little before halfway through. This one's super slick. Could be a little older, but you never know. Ooh, that's a good looking one. 1911 right there. Very nice. And yeah, I'm still surprised that the wheat stalks even got design left in them. That's absolutely stunning for how old it is. Very nice right there. Let's go ahead and put this one down. Alright, looks like we got a 1978 Canadian. And, oh, we got a 1971 Canadian right here as well. Right, we're about halfway through the 42nd roll. And we got another wheat penny right here. Doesn't look like it's going to be as old as that last one that we had, but let's go ahead and see. 1951 Denver again. Alright, let's go ahead and check the rest of the roll. Alright, got into the very next roll, and if you can't see, we got another wheat penny right here. So let's go ahead and pick it up. It's got a little bit of rot on it, but still a wheat penny. Always love them. And it's a 1946 San Francisco. Alright, let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, we got a Canadian from 1972. Very nice. Alright, we're getting into the last roll for this first box. And needless to say, there is quite a bit of stuff that we found. Most of it's pretty common, but it's still nice to be finding a bulk supply of wheat pennies and Canadian pennies. But other than that, let's go ahead and see if we can't get one more find out of here. Oh, we got a Canadian, so we got a 1969 right here. And I don't think we're going to be having anything else. So yeah, last find of the box is a Canadian. But it's always good to be having a last find. So let's go ahead and move on to the conclusion for the first box. Alright, so we're down here at the conclusion, and we didn't find too many 2009s. Yeah, only got 5 of them up here. So we got the formative years, the professional life, and the presidency. And the presidency is the harder one to get for 2009. And then we have a bunch of 1959 Denvers right here. Very, very nice. This one on the end was the best looking one. And let me just flip this around and show you the reverse. It is the first year memorial. And then, if we come down here, we have all of our wheat pennies that we found today. Yeah, we just got a ton of them right here. It's a little much to go over saying them all, so just going to do a couple loops over that so you can see them. And then if I come up here, here's all the Canadians we got today. We got a couple of young heads. We got 4 of them. I got one up in the top. Yeah, here's what the young head obverse looks like. Very nice. I love seeing those. I wish we could have found a King George, either 5 or 6. I would have been happy with one of those as well, but I'm still glad to find as many finds as we did in this box. Yeah, we got a lot of Canadian pennies today, a lot of wheat pennies, and here's the best part. So look at these up here. So this one's just a 1963, like one of the ones down there I was showing you, but it is way better looking. It looks a lot better. And then look at this right here. Uncirculated 1978. It looks beautiful. Yeah, you don't see that every day, especially in America. And then we had the oldest wheat penny that we found today. 1911 Philadelphia. Absolutely crazy. Over 100 years old. And it's still looking fairly decent. Alright. That's absolutely crazy. And there's a couple other things I can show you real quick. So, I found stacks upon stacks of these 1979 Denvers in crisp, uncirculated condition. And here, I'll just show you the piles real quick. Yeah, there's a couple other things in here that were really crisp and uncirculated that I pulled out. A couple 74s, but most of this is 1979s right here. It's absolutely crazy how many I pulled out. There's well over 50. But yeah, other than that, we are going to continue on to box number 2. But before we get into box number 2, this is all the copper that we pulled out for that first box. There's just about half a box of pennies here. And I am going to weigh it up at the end of the video, just like all the other boxes too. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue in to that second box. Alright, we're getting into box number 2 right here. Nothing real special on the ends. So yeah, I'm going to just pick out this first roll right here and let's get into it. Alright, we got this first roll right here. Hopefully this box can be just as good or even better than the first box. Let's go ahead and see what we get from the first roll. And I don't think we're going to be getting anything from this first roll, so I'll tune you guys in when I do find something. Alright, so I just cracked open the third roll, and I don't know if you can see right there. We got a Canadian. So let's see what the first find of the box is. A 1976. Alright, let's go ahead and put this one down and see if there's anything else in this roll. think there's going to be anything else in this roll, so I will tune you guys in on the next find. Alright, we're into the 5th roll, and if you can see right here, we got a Canadian. Something really rotten going on right over here on the right side. It's a 73. Alright, second foreign find or Canadian find. Let's go ahead and put this one down, and hopefully we can get our first wheat penny soon. Alright, I got into the 12th roll. About halfway in, we got a 1974 Canadian. Alright, let's put this one down. Right, guys, I don't know if you can see the $1 million penny right here. Oh, man. Look at this. It's worth $1 million. I'm joking. I can't believe a play cent got in here. It's plastic. It's all bendable. That's just absolutely funny. The design is completely different compared to Abraham Lincoln. Looks more chilled. He's got some dreads. Alright. I'm going to put this one to the side as a miscellaneous find, and then we're going to continue. Alright. We are on roll number 20. And we're halfway through the roll, and look what's finally popping out. We got a wheat penny. Alright, let's go ahead and see what the year for our first wheat penny is going to be. 1956 Denver. Alright, not too shabby for the first wheat penny. Wish it could have been in a little bit better condition, but that's alright. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else in this roll. Oh, look at that. We got a second one. I don't know why my camera is being weird right now, but it's pretty slicked down. I wonder if it's going to be an older one, like maybe before the 30s. Oh yeah. There we go. 1919. We broke the 20s and we got into the teens. That's crazy. Alright, very, very nice looking wheat penny right there. Let's go ahead and put this one down and see if there's something else in this roll. Oh, look at what we got right here. We got the triple find in the roll. We got a 1972 Canadian. Very nice right there. I don't know why my camera keeps not focusing well, but yeah. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else. And it doesn't seem to be anything else in this roll. That was an absolutely great roll right there. And yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one and see if it can be just as good. Alright, we're at the halfway point for the box. Let's see if we can get something good out of this roll right here. And I don't think there's going to be anything in this roll, but I do have something interesting to show you. So, I found this in the last roll, and if you look at it, you can see it's a 2022. But if you look at the edge, we got a clipped planchet right here. That's very, very cool right there. And I'll pop up the average value that these clipped planchets go for up in the top corner over here. But yeah, I just thought that was pretty dang cool. But other than that, though, let's go ahead and move on to the other side of the box. Right, we're into the 27th roll, or no, 37th, sorry, 37th roll, and we got one Canadian right here from 1979. Alright, let's go ahead and go through the rest of the roll and see if there's anything else. Oh, we got another Canadian, but this one's a little more interesting, so it's a flying bird cent. 1867 to 1967. Very nice right there. I always love seeing these. And I don't think there's going to be anything else, so yeah, let's go ahead and continue on to the next roll. Right. It's been a significant amount of time since we've had a find, and we're on the last two rolls of the box right here. So this is the second to the last one. Let's go ahead and see if we can get something good out of it. Oh, looks like we got a 1976 Canadian. Alright, very nice to be seeing something, at least in the second to the last roll. Other than that Canadian, I don't think there's going to be anything else, so let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're getting into the last roll of the box. Can we get one more find? I'd really be happy if we got one more wheat penny, but if we don't, it's alright. I'm going to go ahead and open this one up though and see. Thing on this last roll, so let's go ahead and move on to the conclusion. Alright, and here we are at the conclusion for the second box, and here's our 2009s. We had 3 formative years, 3 professional lives, and 1 presidency. Then if we come down here, we had 3 1959 Denvers. We also had a couple 2017 Philadelphias, and if you did not know, these were to commemorate, I believe it was the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint, and they are the only penny to have the Philadelphia Mint mark on them. And then, if we come down here, we got a 1956 Denver for one of the 2 wheat pennies that we found. And then, here's all the Canadians we got. We got a 1972, a 73, a 74, a 76, and a 79. And then we can go right up here to the top. So here were the absolute best finds for this box. We had a nice circulated 1919 Philadelphia right here. Very nice. It's not too slicked down. You can still see a lot of the design in the wheat stock. And then we had this 2022 Denver clipped planchet. And like I said earlier, I'll pop up a value right up here in the corner. And then we have this bird scent right here, 1867 to 1967. And yeah, that one's pretty cool. I do like the Canadian bird scents right there. And then something I thought was really cool out of the whole box. So we had this play money right here, plastic play money, Imperial. It's a replica of the 1 cent. I'm just surprised that it actually made it into the box and didn't get rejected by the coin counter or whatever happened before it got put into the box. Just, yeah, surprises me that I got me a fake penny right here. But other than that, though, let's go ahead and move on to the third box. But before we get into that third box, this is how much copper is here. Definitely a significant amount less than the first box, but still a nice amount of copper there, and I'll tell you guys the weight at the end of the video. Alright, so we've got our third box right here. Let's go ahead and pull the first roll out and see what's in it. Alright, we got our first roll out right here. Hopefully there's something good in it. Maybe we can get another wheat penny down in the teens. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be anything in this first roll, so I'll tune you guys in when I do find my first find. Alright, we're in roll number 4, and we're about halfway through, and look at what's popping out right here. We got ourselves a nice little wheat back. Looks like it might have been in the ground for a little bit, but let's go ahead and flip it over and see what the year is. Alright, 1942 from Philadelphia. I really wish it could have been a 43, and it would have been a lot of money if it was a copper 43. But other than that, though, let's go ahead and see if there's anything else in this roll. And I don't think so, so I'll tune you guys in on the next find. Right, we're into roll 14 here, and we got our first Canadian for this box, and it looks like it's going to be a bit of a newer one. As you can see, we've got the last portrait of Queen Elizabeth right here. And if you did not know, she died in 2022. And then in 2023, they put King Charles III on the coins. But yeah, look at this right here. We got a 2004. Very nice. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else. Don't think there's going to be anything else, so like always, I'll tune you guys in on the next find. Right, we are on the 18th roll, and we got another Canadian poking out. What do we got right here? We got a 2006, and it's not in the greatest condition. I don't know what type of color is going on with it. Maybe it's been cleaned, but yeah, let's go ahead and see if there's anything else in here. Nice to be seeing these newer Canadians. And that looks like it's going to be the only find for that roll. So I'll tune you guys in on the next one. Alright, we're on the 24th roll. And if you can see it already, we got another Canadian, but this one's going to be the crowned obverse. So let's go ahead and flip it over. We got a 1997. Alright, so, and if you didn't know, this is 1 year after they did their 12-sided pennies. And they did their 12-sided pennies from 82 to 96. And they are pretty cool looking. Just like a hectagon type of edge on here. But other than that, though, let's put this down and see if there's something else here. I don't think I'm seeing anything else. So other than that, we are going to continue on. Alright, we are at the halfway point, the 25th roll. Can we get something good out of here? We don't have a tremendous amount of finds. Mostly a little bit of Canadians, one wheat penny, and then there's a few 2009s that I picked up, but I haven't been showing you guys those on camera because they're just not super interesting, but you'll see them all at the end. Let's go ahead and get into this roll right here, though. See what we can find. Looky. We've got ourselves a cookie. Alright, we got a 1965 right here. It's actually got some pretty decent luster still left on it. Yeah, very nice looking for a 65. Let's go ahead and put this one down and see if there's something else. Alright, we are on the 31st roll, and I got all the way down to the end of it. And look at what we got right here. So we've got a 12-sided Canadian. And like I was saying, these go from 82 to 96. So let's go ahead and see what we got right here. We got a 1983. Very nice. Let's go ahead, put this one down, and see if there's anything else that we can get from the oncoming rolls. Oh boy, it took forever, but we're on the 36th roll right here. And if you can see it, sitting right here, we got a nice little wheat penny, a little bit of rot on this side, but that's alright. I'm still glad that we at least got a second one. And it's a 1945. Let's see here. San Francisco. Yeah, that's a San Francisco for sure. And yeah, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else here. Alright, I got into the 40th roll, and I'm about 7 coins in, and here is a wheat penny. So, alright, we got 3 of them. This one's got some major rotting on it, which sucks because it does look like it has a good design. Like, a lot of the details still left in the design, but let's go ahead and flip this over and see what we got. Ooh. Ooh. We got a 1939 San Francisco right there. That honestly might be worth cleaning up a little bit. Nice details on that. Very nice. Let's go ahead and see if there's something else here in this roll. Ooh. So we got a 1998 Canadian right here. Alright. Very nice. 40. Alright. We got into the 45th roll. And if you can see right here, we got another wheat penny. So let's go ahead and see what we got right here. It's decent looking. Alright, we got a 1953 Denver. Pretty cool. Let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, look at this. We got another wheat penny. Double wheat in the roll. Alright, very nice. Let's go ahead and flip this one and see what it is. Ooh, we got a 1939 Philadelphia. We broke the 40s barrier again. Very nice. See if there's anything else here. Ooh. So it's a 12-sided in uncirculated condition. Very nice. 1993 in uncirculated condition. You don't see them that good too often. Let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, and would you look at that? We got a 1984 12-sided Canadian right here. Very nice. And that does look like it's the end of the roll. So we will be moving on to the next one. Hopefully we can get some good stuff in that. Alright, this is the third to the last roll. And we got a Canadian right here, 1981. But I also seen a couple of other edges in here. Like back here I can see one. Oh, there's another one right next to it as well. Yeah, let's go ahead and go through this and see what's here. Ooh. We got a 1981 again. Very nice. Ooh. Right. We got another wheat penny. 1945 Philadelphia right there. Not looking too bad. Right. Ooh. Another Canadian. Got a 1980 right here. And we got another Canadian. Alright. We got a 1966. Alright. Very nice. I think that's the oldest one for Canada. Oh no, we got a 65. And I don't think there's going to be anything else in that roll. But that was an absolutely great roll right there. One of the ones I wish I would have had recorded live. But other than that, though, let's go ahead and continue into the last 2 rolls of this box. Alright, we got the second to the last roll right here. Can we get something just as good as that last roll before this one? Let's go ahead and open it up and see. Dang, there's nothing. So I'm going to gather up all the copper out of this, then we'll get into that last and final roll. Alright, we got our last and final roll right here. Can we get one last find for the video? Really hoping so. I'm really hoping it's a wheat penny, but I'll take anything, even a 2009 on this last roll. So let's go ahead and get into it and see what we can get. And it doesn't look like we're going to be having anything to end this box off. So other than that, though, let's go ahead and get down into the conclusion. Alright, and here we are for the conclusion for the third box. So we have the birth and early childhoods right there. We have 3 of them. We had 1 formative years. We had 7 professional lives. And we had 2 presidencies. Then we had the first year memorial right here, 1959 from Denver. We had a couple 2017 Philadelphias, and they were made to commemorate the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint, and they are the only penny to bear the Philadelphia Mint mark. Then here's all of our wheat pennies. So the youngest that we have is 1953 Denver. Then we had a couple of 45s. And this one right here is a San Francisco, if you can tell right there. It's kind of hard to see it. And then we had a 1942 Philly. We had a 1939 Philly and a 1939 San Francisco. This one's looking kind of rough on the reverse. But other than that, though, I was pretty glad to find this 1939 San Francisco, as anything in the 30s doesn't really pop out a whole lot, especially not with mint markers. And then, if we come over here, we have a 2006, a 2004, a 1998, a 1997, a 1993 that actually looks really, really good. Yeah, just take a look at that. And then we had an 84, an 83, an 81, a really nice looking 81, an 80, a 66, and a really nice looking 65. Yeah, don't see them coming out with luster a whole lot. But other than that, though, that is the end of that box and the conclusion. But I do have one more surprise. So, this box right here, just going to take the top and pop it. And look at what we got already. So we've got a 1941 right there on the end. And guess what? I'm adding the 4th box to the video. Decided 3 was too little, so 4 is just about right. So let's go ahead and get into that one and see what we can find. This was all the copper right here for that 3rd box. And like I said, you'll get the total weight at the end of the video. Alright, we're getting into this first roll of the 4th box with that 1941 ender right there. Let's go ahead and take it out, get a nice old look at it. There we go. 1941, little bit of ring damage on that 4. That's alright. Still wonderful to be seeing a wheat penny on the end of a roll. Yeah, look at the reverse. Looks pretty nice. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else in this roll. Maybe we can get 2. And I don't think we're going to be having 2. So other than that, we are going to move on to the next roll, and hopefully we can get our second find. Alright, I figured I'll record the second roll live. Maybe we can get some luck on this one. Alright, I ain't really seeing much in here, so let's go ahead and move on, and I'll tune you guys in when I get the second find. Alright, so I got into the 5th roll, and it was actually second from being an ender. We got another wheat reverse. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what this one is. 1951 from Denver. Alright, still pretty common. but we'll take it. Let's go ahead and move on. So, I just cracked the roll open for roll number 6, and I don't know if you can tell because of the lighting. I know that's a little bad over there in the top left, but we got a Canadian right here. All right, looks like it's gonna be copper, and it's probably gonna be, I'd say, a 70. Yeah, 1972. Very nice. But let's go ahead and see if there's anything else interesting in this roll, since we already had that one popping out right off the bat. Oh my. I can't even believe it right now. I literally can't even believe it. It's right here, right in front of me. How? How do I get this lucky with my pennies? I got an Indian head right here. 1893. Oh man, we just broke the 1800s right there. That's very, very nice. I can't believe it right now. It didn't seem like it was going to be that type of box, but this might be one of the better boxes that I've hunted this year. All right, I need to stop looking at this one, and we need to start seeing if there's any more. Let's go ahead and do that. There ain't nothing left in this roll, but that doesn't mean there ain't something in another roll. Let's go ahead and get into the next one. Alright, got about halfway through the 9th roll. We got another wheat reverse showing. It's very nice that they're all showing up reverse side. Do like to have a little bit of a surprise. 1942 Philadelphia right there. Very nice. Not in the greatest shape, but I do like seeing those earlier 40s, and I definitely like to see them earlier, maybe even into the 30s or 20s, even the teens. Or like we found earlier, this Indian head right here. Still can't believe we broke into the 1800s, especially so early into the box. Let's go ahead and continue through. We are at the halfway point for the box. This is the 25th roll right here, and we haven't found too much. We do have a couple of wheat pennies, couple of Canadians, and that Indian head. That is absolutely crazy. Not that many finds, but still surprising that we got an Indian head out of there. It felt like it was going to be a bit stronger box than what it is now. I'm really hoping this other half of the box is pretty good, but I'll still accept it even if the best find is the Indian head for it. But let's go ahead and get into this roll. Oh, would you look at what we got right here? We got a 1953 Denver. Very nice to be finding a wheat live. And I don't think there's going to be anything else left in this roll. So I'll tune you guys back in on the next find. Alright, so I just opened up the 30th roll. And it might be a little difficult for you guys to see. But what I see right here is I see a Canadian. Then if we come down here, I see a wheat penny. And I see another Canadian. So let's go ahead, flip this like this. Let's go through it. So here's first Canadian. We got this one with the tiara obverse. 1977. Alright. Let's go ahead and see if there's something else here besides the wheat penny and the other Canadian that I know is in the back. Okay. We got a 2009 Birth and Early Childhood from Denver. Okay. We got a newer Canadian penny. Let's see what we got. Ooh, 2010, 2 years before they stopped making them. Very nice. And here's the wheat penny that we had. So we got a 1944. Very nice. It's from Philadelphia. It's got a lot of design still left in it. Let's go ahead and look at this last Canadian, though. Alright, we got a young head. Very nice. Do like seeing those a lot. It's pretty much what would be a wheat penny, but for Canada. 1964. Alright. It is the most common one, but it's still a young head. Let's go ahead and put this one down, and then let's continue in to the next roll. Alright. We are into the 36th roll right here. And let's see what I can see. I see this 12-sided edge right here. And yeah, that's really all I can see off the bat. Let's go ahead and pull that out real quick. Oh, I didn't even pull out the right one. Okay. So we had two Canadians right there. 1867 to 1992 right there. We had a commemorative. Very nice. Then we have a 2003 crown. Alright. I think it was in 2003 that they had the uncrowned obverse and the crowned obverse. It was a split year. Let me check on that real quick. Alright, so if you guys look here in the center, we have a 2003 P diadem, and we have a 2003 uncrowned. And that, yeah, that's exactly what we were looking for, is a uncrowned one, but I'm not 100% sure if that is the P one. So let me pick that back up. Let's check it real quick. No, it doesn't look like there's a P underneath the face of Queen Elizabeth. So this is just going to be, I believe, the more common one. Oh no, it's actually the less common one. So we got 92 million compared to 235 million. All right. So I'll gladly take the less common, or the less common one for sure. Let's go ahead and continue on though. All right. So let's get into the rest of this roll and see if there's something else interesting here. Oh, we got another 12-sided Canadian cent right here. I don't know how I didn't notice this one. So we got 1984. Not in the greatest shape, but we'll still take it. And I don't think there's anything else in this roll. So like always, I'll tune you guys in on the next find. Alright, we're into the 42nd roll right here. About halfway through the roll, we got another wheat penny. And this one's pretty beat up. Let's go ahead and flip it. Right, we got a 56 Denver. Very nice, still common. But let's go ahead and see if there's something else here. Oh, okay. We got a 1989 12-sided Canadian. Very nice. And I don't think there's anything else here, so I'll tune you guys in on the next one. Alright, I was opening up the third to the last roll, and I seen this Canadian sticking out. We got a 1993 12-sided, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and see if there's something else in this roll. And I don't think so, so let's get into those last two and final rolls. Alright, we're into the second to the last roll right here. Let's see if we can get something good out of these last two. Dang, I'm not seeing anything in this second to the last roll, so hopefully the last roll is something lucky. Alright, so we got the last and final roll right here. What can we get from it? Looks like we got a copper on this end and a newer one on this end. So let's go ahead and see if there's something good. We got a 2009 presidency from Denver. That's the end of the box. Let's go ahead and get into our conclusion. Alright, here we are at the conclusion for that fourth and final box. We had our 2009s right here, so we have the birth and early childhood. We have 2 formative years. We have 3 professional lives. And we had 5 presidencies. Very nice. Then we had a couple of 2017 Philadelphias, which were to commemorate the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint. And they are the only penny to bear the Philadelphia Mint mark. Then we had a couple of 1959 Denvers, the first year of the memorial. And then here's all of our wheat pennies. So we got a 1956 Denver, a 1953 Denver, a 1951 Denver, a 1944 Philadelphia, a 1942 Philadelphia, and a 1941 Philadelphia. And then right here we have a 1964, which is our oldest for our Canadians, with the Younghead obverse, the only one to show up in this box. Then we had a 1972, a 1977, a 1984, that's 12-sided, very nice. And if you didn't know, those were to try and help blind people identify coins. The coins that were made from 1982 to 1996, I believe. They were all made 12-sided. Then we have an 89, a commemorative right there, 1867 to 1992. Then we have a 1993, a 2003, and these are a little bit harder to get, I would especially to believe in this condition too. We have a 2010 right here. There's a nice old fingerprint mark on it. Very nice though. I already have it, but it's still nice to have spares. And then we have the best find of the box right here. So I was surprised that there was only one. I'm still glad to have one. I was hoping there was going to be more, because usually when there's one, there's more. But we got an 1893 Indian Head penny right here. And I would say it's probably in a VG4, maybe a VG8 condition right there. Not very high grade at all, but it still looks magnificent. And there's no real like rotting on it, so it definitely looks good. It's got a weird little toning to it. I don't know if you can kind of see it. Let me see if I can pick it up and get a nice look. Alright, so it's kind of hard to show you, but it does have a purpley orangish hue. I believe it to be cleaned, and that it's just toned over the years. Who knows when it was cleaned? It definitely looks like it could have been dipped at some point. Don't know why someone would try and clean it, but either or, let's go ahead and move on, and let's do a conclusion over all 4 boxes. But before we get to that final conclusion, this is the copper for the last box, and we will be weighing all that up here in just a minute. Alright, so here we are, and we had quite a bit of stuff for 4 boxes, as expected. But here we are with the 2009s first, so we have 4 birth and early childhoods. We had 7 formative years. We had 15 professional lives right there. And then we had 8 presidencies. I was really surprised to see that we had more presidencies than birth and early childhoods, because the presidency is a bit more rare than the rest of them right here. And then if we come down here, we have 6 of those 2017 Philadelphia pennies that were to commemorate the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint and to be the only one to bear the Philadelphia Mint mark. And then we have a heaping pile right here of 1959s. And let me just count them real quick. So in total, in our 1959s, we had 19 of them, and some of them did have a little bit of luster on them, as you can see right here, which is harder to come by because they usually look something like that. But then we come down here, so we have all of our wheat pennies today. But let's start off at the top. So we have a couple of, or 3 1956 Denvers. Then we have a 56 Philly. We have 2 55 Denvers. We have 1 slightly decent looking 1954 Denver. You can see a little bit of luster coming out on it. It's kind of got a reddy hue. Then we have 3 53 Denvers and a 53 San Francisco. We have a 52 Denver. We have 4 51 Denvers. We have a 50 Philly and a 50 Denver. We have a 49 Denver. We have a 46 San Francisco, a 46 Philly, and 2 46 Denvers. We have a 45 Philly, and it's hard to tell. Oh no. So yeah, 45 Philly right there. And then if you can see the San Francisco mint marker on that 1945, it is there, and I'll throw it up underneath my microscope real quick just so you can see it a little bit better. As you can see right there, you can clearly see that it is a San Francisco now. That mint marker is just withered away. It's nearly gone. It's pretty much just the center of it left. Little bits of the tails still there, but that's still pretty cool to be finding a 45 San Francisco. Still pretty common though. Alright, and let's get back to it real quick. So we had a couple of 44 Phillies. We had a couple 42 Phillies and a 42 Denver. Wish we could have got a steel cent. And then we had a couple of 41 Phillies right there. And then for our oldest finds right here, we have 1939 Philadelphia, still a fairly common one. We have 1919 Philadelphia, and then we have a 1911 Philadelphia. I wish this one could have had a mint marker. I would have loved it, but this one's still great looking for its age. Same thing with this one. Great looking on the reverses right there. It's 1939, not so much. I mean, it's got great detail. There's something going on it. Don't know what all of this erosion is. And then we have our oldest ones right here. So we have 1939 Philadelphia, 1919 Philadelphia, and 1911 Philadelphia. I wish the 1919 would have had a Denver mint mark, as it would have been a lower mintage. And then I wish the 1911 would have had a mint mark. It would have been a pretty good date right there. And then I wish this one would have had a mint marker too, but it's alright. We got a handful of Philadelphias right here, and they all look fairly decent. Let me just flip them all over real quick. There we go. Little slick on these two right here. That's alright. This one's got some pretty great design. Don't know about what's going on all across the face of it, but that's alright. I'll still take them all, especially when they're 40 and under. Definitely like seeing the ones that are under 1940. And oh boy, we got a heaping ton of Canadians right here. So, let's get started. We've got 3 1963s, 2 1964s, 2 1965s, one of them looking really nice with some nice luster on them. See, look at that thing right there. That thing looks beautiful. We have a 66. We have a bird scent right here, which is 1967. We have a 68, a 69. We didn't find a 70, but we got a 71. We got a couple 72s right there, like 4 of them. We have 3 1973s, 2 1974s, a 1975, couple 1976s, couple 1977s, couple 1978s, and this one looks pretty decent as well. Nice bit of luster still left on there. A 79, an 80, an 81. Didn't find an 82, but we got an 83. We got a couple 84s. And then we didn't find 85, 86, 87, or 88, but we got an 89. Then we jump up to 1992 with a commemorative right there. Then we have 1993. We have 1997. We have 1998, 2004, 2003, 2006, and 2010. Then some really nice and bright and shiny ones that we got today. So crisp, uncirculated, 1978, barely any signs of wear really on there. Couple little hair scratches, these weird black dots on there, but still, you don't see Canadian pennies coming out like this every day. Then we had a really, really nice looking 1993 12-sided, and yeah, like I was saying, you don't see them come out like this every single day. Absolutely crazy that I was able to find these. Alright, and then here is what I would consider to be the best finds for box is, but we have this 1893 Indian head penny right here. And if you look at it, I mean, it's not in the greatest shape at all, probably VG4, maybe VG8, but that is absolutely great to be finding in your box of pennies right there. And especially with it looking like this and not having any rot on it or anything. It's nice and slick, but it's still in a really good condition for it being slick. No words in the Liberty headband. That's alright. And let me flip this one more time. Yeah, it might be a rotated die right there. No, you'll have to let me know. Looks like it might be a rotated die. I'll flip it one more time. Yeah, I think that might be a rotated die, because that shield should be lining straight up every time I flip it. But I'm going to move on from that. That is still a really great find right there. Then we had this 1939 San Francisco, which is a pretty good date. It sucks that it's got all this rot right up here in the corner. And then all the way across the reverse. I might try and toothpick that off. But that's still a pretty decent date right there. I figured it deserved a spot. And then we got the $1 million penny right here. Alright, we got the play money. I'm really surprised this made it in. Surprised like a coin machine didn't catch it, because it's definitely not the weight of a copper penny or even a zinc penny. This is way, way lighter. But still very cool to be finding. I'll add it to my collection. And yeah, just cool to be finding stuff like that. But other than that, though, I do have one more thing to show you. Alright, so I'm not really able to determine a score for errors like this, but this is my first clip planchet find, I believe. And it's a 2022 Denver right here. You can clearly see a nice old gap right at the bottom clipped, and it didn't look like anyone tried to pry it off or anything. It's a like nice clean cut like a machine did it. And it looks absolutely great. Definitely like a mint state condition. Don't know how someone wouldn't pull this out, but now I got it. And I love it. But other than this one little penny right here that I think's pretty cool, I'm going to show you one other thing. So I was going through my 1960s and I was looking for a couple of the different varieties there, And for the Denver one specifically, you can be looking for the small date over large date. And then for the Philadelphia one, you want to be looking for the small date, which is the better variety. But I didn't end up finding any of those. But what I did find right here is that there's a little bit of a overfilled 9 right here, and it doesn't really look like damage just because there's no other damage in the area that's super significant to even make it look like it's super smudged like that. I just thought that was pretty interesting. Don't know if that's really worth a whole lot of value. Maybe you might be able to get $1 for something like this. It definitely does look like something that's not supposed to be there. But other than that, got one other thing. Alright, and right here we have the FS502. And I'll pop up some images that I found on Variety Vista for this. But yeah, that is absolutely great right there. I have seen these go routinely for about $8 to $12 on eBay in this condition. It's not in the greatest condition as you've seen in the last clip, but yeah, still absolutely great to be finding a repunched mint mark, and especially of the rarest variety for 1960. So other than that though, let's continue on. So I just wanted to mention this. So this might look like it would be a repunched mint mark, but that is not. That is just dye deterioration right there. That kind of makes it look like that. But you can see the zinc right there and a repunched mint mark. I'll pop up a picture of it. It definitely looks way different than that. You wouldn't really see any zinc showing like that. That is something that kind of catches my eye every now and then. I'll see a little bit of that zinc popping out at the bottom. And maybe for some people they don't know and they think that they got something, but really it's just dye deterioration. Not really worth anything. Very, very common. You'll see it on a lot of coins. You'll probably go through a box of pennies and you might find 100, maybe 200 of them that look exactly like this. And if you didn't know, for the 1983, you can be looking for a double-dyed reverse. I believe you can find it on the Philadelphia and Denver, but I'm pretty sure they're more common on the Philadelphia version. And where you would find that at usually is down here in the cents. You would see it very, very boldly, and I'll show an image of that. But other than that, though, I think that's about it, and let's get into the score sheets. But before we get into the score sheets, we are going to weigh up all the copper for the 4 boxes. Alright, so for the first box we had 3,126.4 grams of copper pennies, or 6.9 pounds. For the second box, we had 1,595.7 grams, or 3.5 pounds. For box number 3, we had 1,148.1 grams, or 2.5 pounds. We had box number 4 at 1,114.2 grams for 2.4 pounds. Then we have a total weight of 6,984.4 grams, or 15.4 pounds of copper. That's a pretty good amount of copper right there. I definitely like that. I really like that first box up there with 6.9 pounds. As you can see, it's already double everything else over here. So that's absolutely great right there. I wish I could always have boxes like that with 6.9 pounds of copper. But other than that, though, let's go ahead and get into the score sheets. And alright, I do have one last interruption before we get into the score sheets. But this one is pretty important, and I almost forgot about it. Alright, so as you can see right here, I have two 1969 Denver minted pennies right here. And what we're going to be looking for on these ones is when we turn them over to the reverse side like this. I don't know if you can really tell right now, but we're going to be looking for a no FG and a floating roof. And let me just put this underneath the microscope and I'll show you. Alright, so we've got this first 1969 Denver right here. When I flip it over, you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, so if you look right over here in the corner, there is very weak or maybe no FG right here, which there should be a fairly well struck FG. Then if we come up here, you can see right here at the top, there's no line right there, and there's no line right there, which there should be, which would make that a floating roof, which is a fairly common error, but in these circulated examples like this, you could catch upwards of $5 to $10 for these. And that is pretty dang cool, I think. It was a variety that I didn't know too much about, and I just started to get into it. But yeah, very nice. So, other than that though, I'm going to show you the other one real quick, and then we'll get into the score sheet. Alright, you can see this 1969 Denver right here. Let me just flip it, and right down in the bottom, you can kind of see a little bit of a weaker FG right there. And when we come up here, you can clearly see there's no line right there again, and no line right there again. So we definitely have the floating roof, but for this one, I'm for certain that it is a weak FG, which would be less valuable than the one that I just showed you. And the other one did look like it was in a little bit better condition, but it might be cleaned. But other than that though, let's go ahead and look at those score sheets. Here is the point sheet. And here is the extra Canadian score sheet. Alright, and we're down here on Season 3, Box 19, and this is the final season for the pennies. I am going to start something new with it after this. So, we had 5 2009s for 5 points, 11 1959s for 11 points, 22 over 60 million for 44 points, 4 young heads for 20 points, 15 tiaras for 54 points, and a total points of 134 points on this first box. That is absolutely great, and I'm very, very glad I picked this one up. But let's go ahead and move on to the score sheet for the next one. Alright, we got this second box right here, box number 20, and we had 7 2009s for 7 points, 2 2017 Philadelphias for 2 points, 3 1959s for 3 points, 2 over 60 million for 4 points, 7 tiaras for 21 points, and a total points of 37 points. Alright, so we have this third box right here, box 21, and we got 13 2009s for 13 points, 2 2017 Philadelphias for 2 points, 1 1959 for 1 point, 5 over 60 million for 10 points, 1 under 60 million for 5 points, 2 uncrowned for 2 points, 3 crowned for 6 points, 7 tiaras for 21 points, and a total points of 60 points. That's another good box. I always like to see them above the 50-point range. And then we got the last and final box right here, box number 4, or box 22. And we had 10 2009s for 10 points, 2 2017 Philadelphias for 2 points, 3 1959s for 3 points, 6 over 60 million for 12 points, 1 Younghead for 5 points, 4 Tiaras for 12 points, 3 Crowned for 6 points, 1 Uncrowned for 1 point, 1 under 60 million for 5 points, 1 Indian Head for 50 points. That one was really great to be finding. Then we have a total points of 106 points. Now this last box almost beat the first box. It was cutting it close, just needed a little bit more points to do it, but we did not get there, but we still got all of those boxes together, and we can get a total combined points of. So our season 3 final score is going to be 337 points right there. That is absolutely great for 4 boxes. It's always great to be finding an amazing amount of stuff. I especially love finding those Canadians, and I'm glad we found a ton of them and a ton of wheat pennies along with that Indian Head. So yeah, other than that though, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, J-Dog out.